Over the next couple of days, the investigation got underway. Police searched all the grasslands and gore areas, ponds, and dense woodlands, but found nothing. Because of that, they did daily press conferences and reenactments. There was also a body double to jog someone's memory. They even called in the Royal Marines. John was investigated, but had an alibi for 3:27 p.m. when Genette disappeared. Eric Rundall, an experienced detective superintendent, split detectives into 3 teams. 1, the search team. 2, the suspect team, looking into obvious suspects like a list of sex offenders, pedophiles, and anyone with indecency claims against them. And 3, a house-to-house inquiries team, which knocked at every door in the area and had the occupants fill out forms and details of their movements on that Saturday afternoon. Despite all that, nothing stood out, and no suspects were initially identified. A breakthrough, however, happened a day after the disappearance. A policeman's wife, Matilda Rogers, and her 14-year-old daughter, Gail, walked into the village community hall with a sighting. On the day in question, Matilda and Gail had been walking on Withen Lane and noticed the 2 girls, Tracy and Maggie. She even talked to them, asking if there were any local events. Matilda and Gail were on holiday from Hull, so they were unable to know what was going on. They left the 2 girls and carried on to the bungalow where they were staying, not too far from the bridge Tracy and Maggie had been standing at. Matilda recalled seeing a car heading along Withen Lane towards Aylesbeare Center in the direction of Genette. Matilda remembered the car passing her at the time in question because she had to squeeze into the hedge about 300 yards away from where the bicycle was found. Matilda was seen as credible, especially as a policeman's wife. She described the car as shiny and either red or maroon, possibly a Triumph Dolomite or a 1300. The driver was described as a young man, 18 to 25, with thick blackish hair cut short and parted left, and a pale complexion with thick blackish eyebrows and a light-colored shirt with the sleeves rolled up. Overall, he had a tidy appearance. The decision was made that there needed to be a nationwide search because there were numerous red cars in the southwest of England alone at the time, and Aylesbeare is near the M5 motorway. So, the police admitted that Genette's probable abductor could have been more than 100 miles away by the time their hunt started. They alerted the national media and provided a photo fit of the driver of the car along with a detailed description. Matilda underwent hypnosis to bring out further details about the maroon car and driver. She managed to recite partial plate numbers, which were run through the police databases, but nothing brought about a match for the maroon car. Why was the car focused on? Withen Lane was narrow, so 2 cars could not pass each other. Also, it is unlikely another car had approached from the other end of the lane, grabbed her, and driven back, as there was no space for that kind of maneuver. Police asked volunteers to search Woodbury Common, which was roundly attended by thousands and dubbed Genette's Army. The search of the Common was, however, solely based on a hunch, which turned up no leads. By October 1978, the reward was capped to £23,000, as someone might withhold information based on hoping to get more money. Hoaxes abounded, and many psychics came forward claiming they knew what had happened, showing up at the Tates' home, which upset them. However, the police decided to bring in Gerard Croiset, a Dutch parapsychologist and psychic who had been working with Dutch authorities on missing person cases and unsolved murders. He got international acclaim in 1966 after being asked to comment on the disappearance of the Beaumont children in Australia, where Jane, Anna, and Grant Beaumont went missing after visiting Glenick Beach near Adelaide in Australia. His information, nonetheless, didn't lead to their discovery. During the 70s, Croiset continued to consult on cases. In this case, he was taken out to Aylesbeare, and he looked at the maps to see if he could feel where Genette was, which was his method. When driving around, however, he had police stop at a quarry and said there had been a killing, but said it was in the future and it wasn't Genette. Frustratingly, he couldn't pinpoint a specific murder at a specific time. He also talked about a pond that Genette could be in, but police could locate nothing. His advice did not lead to her discovery. This focus on mediums took up a lot of valuable time, and by the end of 1978, almost 100 mediums had contacted police. As 1978 turned into 1979, the police continued to try to find leads, although it was proving difficult. They were convinced someone had abducted her during her journey, but who did it? Genette's family tried to keep her name in the press, but news of her began to wane. By May 1979, they said they wanted to set up a charity called International Find a Child. John Tate also wrote a book about Genette called Genette Is Missing to help with her search, and people came forward with new leads. The anniversary of her appearance came round, and a photograph from John Tate's book was circulated to the media. It was featured in national newspapers. Police went to Aylesbeare to talk to holidaymakers in hopes one of them might have been there the year prior and saw something. The main lead was still the man in the car. Through hypnosis, it was believed the registration number was BM1G or MB1G. However, 19,000 with similar plates were checked, and 20 were red or maroon. All 20 were eliminated. The police appealed to the public that anyone who knew of a red car during the time should contact them. 7,000 local people had helped with the search, which showed the community was close-knit. However, as with all cold cases, attention begins to wane, and the police eventually scaled down the investigation.